Hello there, I'm Mouldy, but you probably all know that by now. Just like you know, every Saturday here in 2025, I'm going live on the channel 7 PM BST to build some Lego. Sometimes it's a set, sometimes it's a mock. And this week, we'd have actually just gone live building the Jango Fett Slave 1, inspired by the 20th anniversary Boba Fett, which I actually mocked out some years ago. But we can definitely do better with some custom 3D printed bricks. That's not why we're here today, because I've inspired by one of these comments that I've had across the live streams. I wanted to build a Mustafar diorama, but I didn't just want to build what I built all those years ago and what everyone tends to build when we think of Mustafar. And that is this Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting on the actual lava plains of Mustafar on these little security droids. It's nice that we got this little side build as well with it, but this diorama, well, it's not much of a diorama. It is on a 16 by 16 base, which I am going to be copying across just to show you what else could have been built in this space. You might be wondering, if you do own the set, it's 15 by 16 on the bottom, 16 studs wide, 15 studs tall, but those three slope elements do stick out a further stud, which is where we're getting that exact 16 by 16 measurement. But where Lego usually tend to stick to the actual fight scene on Mustafar, I want to include some of the actual station where you see all the Separatist leaders gather, which is a perfect time to include my custom Wat Tambor minifigure. My custom Wat Tambor minifigure is probably one of the easiest customs I have made. We've got this, I think it's a Chima neck bracket, I'm not quite sure where this armor piece is from, with binoculars that were introduced in the Friends line for one of the robots, a green tile on top, and just blue arms, blue legs. I have gone with my duplicate of Ahsoka Tano Season 7 torso, but you could fit anything that's any shade of blue under there, and it would work just fine. I've also got, I believe this is Grandpa Clone Customs design of the torso for the Mustafar Padme, which is really, really cool. Dual molded legs, has to be. And I've gone with Han's head because it's the only one I could find that was flesh colored and had the eyes shut for when Padme gets knocked unconscious. Another custom minifigure that is still ABS plastic, the same type that Lego use, is this front and back printed minifigure scale R2-D2 that I picked up from Filoni Clones. And I have to say, this looks great alongside the other minifigures. Like this C-3PO that I've mocked up using official Lego pieces that come in Lego sets. We've got the gold side printed legs from the prequel and sequel trilogy that come in a poly bag for the episode 7 3PO. And then we've got the new arm printing, which you can get in pretty much any set. Of course, we couldn't have this without an Anakin and Kenobi minifigure. Anakin, I've gone with the one from a few years ago, burn up robes that did come in the set we just looked at. Thankfully, we got the new torso this year. And the piece of resistance, we have Kenobi with the high ground. Cannot be separated. And this is actually the design of the ladder that we see in the Skywalker Saga games on Mustafar. I've told off one of the sides and I'm definitely going to be including this in the mock. Like I said at the top of the video, we're not just building Lego every Saturday, but midweek I've also started playing some Lego games, which has been quite popular, one of which has been the Skywalker Saga. But over Star Wars Celebration weekend, we'll be going live talking about all the new Star Wars drops whilst playing through the complete saga. So I hope to see a few of you there. After building the mock, I realized fitting 3 different locations in a 16 by 16 base wasn't going to be too easy. And the base is actually 18 by 18 because of this 1 by 1 border that I've placed the entire way around. But I have used the space underneath these rocks to create a little separatist hideout, but let's start with the outside. First up, we have Anakin's platform from the high ground scene. Technically, this is Kenobi's. Kenobi is the first one to jump on this, and then they both end up on it, and I guess Anakin is the one left over. And you can see I have placed that 1 by 2 clip so that we can get Kenobi's ladder clipped in a bit more securely than just placing it on top. I don't trust myself not to knock that over. And already, this is where a lot of people stop. But you'll notice there are some walls on the top because this isn't just the rocky terrain we see Kenobi taking the high ground on. This is also meant to represent the hangar where we see the ships landing. I guess this is some sort of docking bay for Mustafar, and I would have loved to include some Mustafar minifigures, but we're going to slot our Padme minifigure just down here, pivot the head to the side. I'll switch up the head in just a second, and these two chocolatey ingot tiles are meant to represent Kenobi's cloak that he places underneath Padme's head before rushing off to face Sky Guy. We're also going to have 3PO and R2 tending to Padme over here. So we've got R2 probably up close running some diagnostics, and 3PO just at R2's side, hoping that his mistress is okay. But there's also quite a bit of detail on these. Not quite sure what these are. These do pop up in the Lego games as well as the movie, and they just seem to be freestanding. Maybe these are exterior walls that pop out a little bit, but I had to include them on. Underneath, we do have quite a decent interior, and now with opening this up, it's expanded beyond the 16 studs. All right, not quite. It's still technically only 16 studs on the base, or 18 if you want to include that border, but it does allow a lot of extra space to take some really cool photos that you can find on the community tab and over on Instagram very, very soon. Inside this space, we do have two battle droids with a little table which has, I believe that's the Leia hologram piece on the table, but it's meant to represent Palpatine giving his final call to the Separatist leaders before Anakin Skywalker arrives to take them out. And that is what I've recreated with what Tam bought at the head of the table when Anakin closes the door behind him, and well, the rest is history. So we have a nice little table there with a few chairs and a little table with Palpatine's hologram on. It's quite an enclosed space, so I wasn't able to get a sliding door mechanism in the middle. I tried to get that to work, but with the rock sloping up so quickly, and I wanted to include Anakin's platform on the outside here, it just wasn't possible given my restrictions. Later on this year, I do want to tackle Utapau, and that's going to be a bigger MOC than just a 16 by 16. Probably even bigger than 48 by 48 if I can muscle together the bricks to create such a large diorama. But we spoke about that last year, and I'm still planning on doing that. Perhaps we can revisit Revenge of the Sith and build a bigger Mustafar diorama. But for now, let's take a final look with some LED sabers. I've dimmed the light just a little bit so you can start to see the effect of the glow of both the sabers. But the real magic happens when the lights go out. And now all that's lighting up this MOC is, I guess, a bit of background light, but mostly the light from both of these LED lightsabers. And I do think maybe Kenobi's one is a bit too bright, but it does look really cool. If only we could light up the lava just below Anakin. If I can turn the light back on without breaking anything, the lava is actually a load of the fire elements on its side, so we could definitely get some LEDs, perhaps even just reflecting off those flames, and that could look really cool. Take it to the next level. There's a little lava pit as well, just down here to the left of Anakin. Let's see if we can get a shot from above there. You can see there are some other trans orange elements, which it didn't look right including all trans orange, which is why I've looped the trans orange on top of the orange tiles, just to get that solid lava color. But Kenobi does indeed have the higher ground. Anakin should not try it, and if he does, I guess he's going to take the cord with him. I have hidden the LED lightsaber cords. I get asked this a few times about how I hide them. Because the cords are so thin, sometimes you can hide it in plain sight like Kenobi's, which is actually just run down the back of the ladder all the way across the MOC and into the power bank. Anakin's is a bit more hidden because it runs underneath the entire MOC and just loops up around his little platform and then goes straight to the saber, which is hidden by the minifigure itself and the cape covering most of the sides. So these are pretty simple to conceal, but like I usually say, if you're unable to hide them in the actual bricks, a little bit of blue tack goes a long way. But just because I've made this video doesn't mean the work has to stop there. Let me know what you'd do to improve this MOC in the comments, and perhaps I'll make a few shorts with your suggestions. Just keep in mind that this MOC is on a 16 by 16 base. There's not a ton of room, and even underneath for the Separatists, some minifigures and droids I just don't have at my disposal right now. And if there's nothing you would do to improve this MOC, I guess all you can do is drop a like on this video and subscribe for more designs like this. Until then, may the bricks be with you always.